Ava Layton discovered betrayal not in words, not in whispers, but in numbers. A single decimal, a fraction too precise to be innocent. On her screen, a transaction glowed under the name Strategic Liquidity Optimization. It was the kind of phrase designed to be overlooked. And that's exactly what Damien Vale had counted on. She stared at the line item, emotionless. Not panic, not grief. Just that quiet realization that the man she trusted most had finally made his move. The betrayal wasn't emotional. It was architectural. A system built line by line to destroy her, signed in her name, approved by her hand. Ava Layton had been born inside wealth the way others are born inside weather. Invisible, constant, shaping everything. Her father built an empire that touched steel, oil, and tech. But Ava wanted to prove that intelligence, not inheritance, defined power. When Damien appeared, she thought she'd found her equal, a hedge fund prodigy with composure, confidence, and a voice that could turn logic into faith. He spoke in the language of markets, fluid, seductive, mathematical. Together, they built Layton Vale Capital, a fund that promised to outthink the old world and outmaneuver the new one. For 70 days it worked. Investors poured in. Headlines worshipped them. Ava thought she'd found partnership. What she didn't see yet was the predator hiding behind the promise. Damien didn't steal in cash. He stole in trust. Each transfer, each adjustment disguised as progress. The money moved quietly in fragments through companies that existed only on weekends. Ghost entities created and deleted faster than they could be audited. But Ava noticed, and instead of confrontation, she chose calculation. Because the rich don't lose money through ignorance, they lose it through faith. She studied his methods the way an analyst studies contagion. Not to stop it, but to understand how it spreads. Then she built something new, a hidden mirror system beneath his own. An algorithm she called Eidolon. It recorded every deceit, every transfer, every forged report. And while Damien believed he was draining her, Ava was mapping the anatomy of his greed. She knew the day would come. And when it did, she didn't react. She simply watched as hundreds of millions vanished from her company's account. He thought he had escaped, but the account he'd transferred it to wasn't his. It was hers. He had signed his downfall with the same precision he used to forge her trust. The next morning, Damien burst into her office. "And there's been a breach," he said. "We've lost control." Ava turned from the window, calm as glass. "No, Damien," she replied softly. "You've lost illusion. Control was never real. It was just access." From that moment, the empire he'd built began to decay in silence. Regulators arrived. Auditors followed. Every record, every document pointed directly to him. Ava had written his guilt into the structure itself. Her downfall and his destruction were the same event, timed to perfection. The press called her the betrayed heiress. The public pitied her. But Ava had orchestrated the entire collapse. She hadn't just survived betrayal, she had engineered it. Her loss became the perfect disguise. Her downfall, the firewall between her and every liability she'd ever carried. She smiled through interviews. She played the role of tragedy with surgical grace. And while the world mourned her fortune, Ava quietly redirected her empire under new identities. Anonymous trusts, invisible accounts, structures that could never be traced back to her name. Damien tried to fight back. He accused her. He threatened to expose her. But every path he took only led to the evidence she had planted. Emails, logs, transfers, all authenticated by his own credentials. He didn't go to prison. He went into exile. His reputation shredded, his name erased from the markets he once ruled. The system that once rewarded him now spat him out like waste. Ava watched it unfold from silence. Not with joy, yet with understanding. She realized that men like Damien didn't crave money. They craved recognition. They needed to be seen as untouchable. And that hunger, that vanity, was the weakness she had priced from the start. Greed, she once said, isn't wanting more. It's the refusal to lose gracefully. And Damien Vale could never lose. Months passed. The scandal cooled. Ava disappeared from headlines. But Eidolon continued to hum quietly in the dark. Tracking, moving, building something cleaner. I'm not an empire, a network without a face. Her name no longer appeared in filings. Her signature, once a symbol of power, now existed only as a ghost in encrypted code. She had become invisible by design, and in that invisibility she found peace. She had learned that freedom doesn't come from wealth, it comes from precision under ruin. She had learned that power isn't ownership. It's the ability to direct what others think can't be controlled. The night she deleted her own corporate identity, she stood at the window of her penthouse for the last time. Below her, the city pulsed with blind ambition. Screens glowed, deals moved, promises shifted. The game went on, but Ava was no longer playing it. She was rewriting it. When asked, years later, what she learned from losing everything, she simply said, "True wealth isn't what survives collapse. It's what you can still control once collapse begins." The interviewer called it cold. Ava called it honest, because she knew now, money has no conscience, only direction, and she had become its compass. Ava Layton, the rich girl who bought her own downfall, didn't just survive corruption, she mastered it. She turned betrayal into blueprint, loss into leverage, and silence into sovereignty. She became the one thing every empire secretly desires, untouchable. If the weight of this story resonated, subscribe to Betrayal and Billions to never miss the next chapter of psychological drama.